In this wild and open directness, devoid of any concepts, no influence of language, free of any passed down wisdom, without a witness, no perceiver or observer, without a two, the eternal curiousness springs without a source, no subject and object, even the very concept of non-duality falters. Any philosophy or beliefs disintegrate into this vast emptiness, this very directness, without an opposite. Eyes are wide open and shut at the same time. Any thoughts are thoughtless. Even in the blackest darkness, there is a light that never goes out. It never ever falters. Although these words that seems to come in and out of that imaginary awareness, there is the immovable. Nothing can be changed. And nothing ever will. Despite the ever-changing facade of movement, like a kaleidoscope of thoughts through an infinite lens. It's just an appearance. Although this communicator is trying to convey something like a message, there is no messenger and there's no recipient of this so-called what isness. So there's not even a message, just a made-up concept of words that are strung together that seemingly becomes a belief system or not. So don't take anything away from here. These are empty words that are seemingly appearing as meanings, as pronouncement, as a declaration of something that cannot be said. So without the confines of a message, there is just this direct, empty persuasion that there's nothing to get. Nothing to know, nothing to understand, nothing to comprehend. Just this wild, open curiousness of everything and nothing. Everything imagined and unimagined. This undeniable emptiness that does not require any kind of description, although seemingly there's description that's going to be said here, is the futile attempt to express the inexpressible. In this seemingly open, wild openness, the myopic lens, the short-sightedness, widens and broadens and destroys all the edges of vision. It shatters the concept of observer and the observed, even destroys the idea of simply there's no one, or there's someone, or anything like true nature, or anything that is conceived or perceived as an understanding, or something that needs to be understood. So in the level of thoughts, it's just all imaginings, all wild imaginings of something that cannot be perceived. In this edgelessness, seamlessness, without a perceiver, the union of God or no God, the collapse of me or no me, like standing at the edge of the event horizon, sandwiched between black holes, where everything is real and unreal, and the unreal is real. It's incomprehensible, unimaginable, empty, yet full. Nothing but everything. And these words are just trying to express something that cannot be said. It's like trying to tell a story that will always remain untold. And these words that are seemingly coming in and out are just whispers of nothing. Nothing can be promised because there's nothing to promise. but just this radiance, emptiness that appears as whatever seems to appear. In this quietness, where everything seems to be just as it is, even the words lose their meanings. What's being expressed does not really matter. It becomes completely irrelevant. And in this openness, in this wild openness, curiousness, like an eternal infancy that just keeps on going and going and going, but it's not going anywhere. It has nowhere to go. In this spontaneous combustion, this explosion, this boom, this wow, this infiniteness that cannot be imagined. There are many stories that are going to be told, but it has nothing to do with what's being said here. It has nothing to do with what is that cannot be said. Even the speaker and the listener has nothing to do with this. This has nothing to do with you. This has nothing to do with me. Yet this elegant expression of emptiness that seems just like trying to attempt of poetry of something that cannot be written, trying to paint a masterpiece that already is. It's like having this infinite newness that the words seem to not be able to capture. So I promised a story. So this story is completely irrelevant. I've been talking to this character. Let's call him Leo. And he was a priest that fell in love with a woman, became an atheist. He had a glimpse, seemingly. What happened in the glimpse was he was having a lot of struggle, like a dark night of the soul, so to speak, of whether leaving his clergy or parish or going with a woman that he has fallen in love with. In the absence of everything, he was asking questions and nothing was being answered. He just heard empty echoes of nothing. So naturally, there was curiousness in what seems to be happening. What he noticed was there was no one doing anything. There was no one driving a car. There was no one preaching. There's no one suffering, just this emptiness. And he can't seem to figure it out. But the thing that he felt right away was almost this, how do I say it? Not really a guilt or a betrayal of some sort, that his fate has seemingly betrayed him. And he can't seem to connect with what he believed in before. So he started not believing. After a few years of listening to, he finally got into non-duality. Somehow, we have similar backgrounds. He's a Filipino Catholic ex-priest. Someone sent him a video. So we started talking back and forth. And then one day, there was just this seeming dropping away of belief and non-belief, because even a non-belief is also a belief. And there was this clarity without any kind of knowledge, without kind of any comprehension. And he gave me this book as a thank you. And it was just beautiful. There was an allergic reaction to, of course, a lot of religiousness to it. But there was some beautiful process there that I shared, and I'll share later again, about eternity, of how that this is not inclusive just to non-duality. What's being talked about is not even non-duality. What's being expressed has nothing to do with the belief system or an idea that there should be no separation. It's beyond all of that. And it's appearing as everything already. There's nothing needed. You don't have to call it atheism. You don't have to call it non-duality. You don't have to call it religion or spirituality. It's unnameable. It appears in everything. And there's nothing that can be said about it, really. So he was talking about it as if he was an infant again. and he encountered this poem that he sent me later, this book of poems and everything, about 200 years old. Although there's really no history, it's just another story. But it was beautiful that even the elegant, poem about this, even if it mentioned a word of God or no God or whatever, does not really require a belief system. These words does not require a belief system. What's being said does not require any kind of understanding. Again, in this directness, in this emptiness, where nothing really matters. There's this silence that cannot be heard. It's deafening at the same time, but not for you, not for the individual. In the absence of the individual, there's no me or no me. It's just what is. And in this isness, there is this directness about it that cannot really be passed on, cannot be learned, it cannot be thought, it cannot be acknowledged, it cannot be accepted, it cannot be rejected because it already is. And kind of like an infant that sees this isness without any separation, without any words, seemingly there's a learning of non-duality, maybe a learning of religion first, then maybe becomes spirituality, and then there's non-duality. So this is a dropping of all of the concepts that seems to create this barrier in something that is completely direct, something that is already undeniable, something that is not even a something that cannot be talked about, something that is so wild and free already. It's so wild and free. And in the stories that seems to come along, there was a DJ or someone walking in the park or a priest having some confusion in his fate. There's this direct wonder that does not need to be recognized, that does not need to be acknowledged because it appears in everything. It appears in fate or no fate, in hope or no hope. It appears in everything, but it's neither hope or no hope. It's neither me or no me. It's not anything that can be said because it is already directly as it is. It's already the case ad infinitum, over and over and over again. No matter what you think, no matter what you do, no matter what you comprehend or not, it's already the case. And this is not trying to convince anyone because that's just another thinking that it's not the case. Then you just have to shift into already the case. So even if it's not the case, it's already the case. And there's nothing that can be said or done about it. Just this empty curiousness of something that always is. If you have any questions, please go ahead. I'll read a poem, but I don't have my glasses on. So I'll put on, these glasses doesn't have a lens, so it doesn't reflect. So if you would like to ask any questions, please go ahead. Okay. Let me get sorry, just a second. There we go. So there's a poem that was sent to me. And again, you know what? It's just beautiful. There's just this wild openness here that does not have any kind of putting down anything. It's just what is. And if the poem is good, it's good. Maybe I'll read it later. Hello, Emerson. Thank you so much for doing this meeting. That introduction made me cry. Has something changed with the way that you communicate? There seems to be a lot of love and openness. Not really, to be honest with you. There is a lot of love, saying it's just the same. It's just words, right? So when the word seems to be more at ease, there's no more restrictions for the words. It might seem that there is a lot of love and everything, but it's just another seeming appearance of something that that does not really have any relevance with what's said or what's not said. But thank you. There seems to be a lot of openness, and no more trying to categorize anything or anything. You know, there's just this in loveness with everything that seems to appear. Yeah. Oh, can you read that poem? So yes. So there's this poem. Eternity is a mysterious absence of times and ages, an endless length of ages always present and forever perfect. For as there is an immovable space wherein all finite spaces are enclosed and all motions carried on and performed, so is there an immovable duration that contains and measures all moving durations, without which first and last could not be, no more than finite places, and bodies moving without infinite space, all ages being but successions correspondent to those part of the eternity wherein they are, and filling no more of it than ages can do. Whether they are commensurate with it or no, it is difficult to determine. But the infinite immovable duration is eternity, the place and duration of all things, even of infinite space itself, the cause and end, the author and the beautifier, the life and the perfection of all. Yeah, so it's just beautiful.
Can you read it
It's
once
all
more?
poetry anyway. Sorry?
Can you read it again?
Yeah. Eternity is a mysterious absence of times and ages, an endless length of ages always present and forever perfect. Whereas there is an immovable space wherein all finite spaces are enclosed and all motions carried on and performed. So is there an immovable duration that contains and measures all moving durations, without which first and last could not be, no more than finite places and bodies moving without infinite space, all ages being but successions correspondent to those parts of the eternity wherein they appear, and feeling no more of it than ages can do. Whether they are commensurate with or no is difficult to determine, but this infinite immovable duration is eternity, the place and duration of all things, even of infinite space itself, the cause and end, the author and the beautifier, the life and the perfection of all. So that was like 200 years ago in the apparent history, about someone basically gushing about something that cannot be talked about. And the person that I was doing one-on-one with said that it was something that reminded him of the way that I talk about things. It's a gushing of this emptiness that cannot be talked about, this infiniteness that I have no idea of what it is about. It's like being in love with love for no reason at all, without any separation, without a subject or object. Your background looks like an old Windows screensaver. Yes, I like it. Is that better?
Beautiful, okay. Beautiful, Emmy. Thanks for sharing.
Oh,
wow.
thank you. Thank you,
Wow,
Rosa.
You look so beautiful. Let's marry. Boom. Enjoy
Boom.
the show.
Thank you, Rosa.
Hi, Emerson.
Hello.
Kathy.
Hey, Kathy.
Hi.
Hi.
You know, I was thinking when you sent out the the Zoom link, the letter, whatever. Well, You know, I was remembering how people always, people always ask you, like, what's it like, like, what's it like, describe it or something, the emptiness, whatever, and you always say, there's just contentment, just contentment here. I never knew what you were talking about until I saw the baby's face.
Yeah.
Damn. Holy crap. It was just, I got it. I mean, I didn't get it. Too bad.
No worries.
Too bad. Well, there are worries. There's always worries. But yeah, like that. Was that in the book? That picture?
No, it was just something from Canva.
From who?
Canva. It's like a where I create all my graphics. So they have pictures there that I can use.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, that's it. I finally see it. Finally got to
and
see
it's
it.
beautiful to see
And
it in
feel
different,
it and feel it too. Like I could feel it almost. Wow. I mean, you
I can't remember
probably
the title. Sorry, go ahead. I can't remember the title, but it's something about the curiousness, the infancy of the eternal infancy of impersonal curiousness, right? There's just this curiousness, and there's contentment, and there's this wildness, this wildness, everythingness, basically, that seems to appear. Is just it.
Where did that come from?
I have no idea.
No, what you just said.
Oh, I don't know.
Were you talking about Canva again?
No. I'm just talking about the title of the
title
of the talk.
Of the talk. Oh, I don't remember. Yeah. It was so great to see that, because I know how many times you've said it. I mean, not that you probably express, there's an expression too, I guess. I'm sure. I just don't see it, maybe because the screen's so small. But that baby, that was just, I got to look at that every day now. The baby, it was so great. Thanks so much for that. That was mind blowing.
Oh, thank you.
I got it. I mean, I got it. That's contentment. That's why I can't get it, because you got to.
Yes.
Well, I mean, not
sometimes
the me
a
can't get
picture
it.
is what do they say? A picture tells 1,000 words or something.
Yeah. But I'm saying that's why the me can't get it. Me, That's no dreams, no thoughts.
Your father's cool as a cucumber. He just had a stroke.
Just
what?
Someone just
what? Somebody just had a stroke.
I don't know.
You just said my father just had a stroke.
Yeah. Someone forgot to mute their volume. Sorry about that. Well,
her father just had a freaking stroke. Oh shit. Anyway, I hope he's okay. I hope he survived. When you have a stroke, I think you have to get to the hospital really fast, because they can save your brain or something if you get there fast. Anyway, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Sorry, no stroke. Okay, Rachel. Sorry about that. Okay. That's good to hear. No stroke. No stroke. Can you give short responses to these? Tell me who you are. I have no idea. No idea. Tell me what you are. Again, no idea, right? Again, we can just answer this with the story. But here we are in the directness, and none of this questions really can be answered, right? Because it will just come up as ideas about something that cannot be put into any ideas. I can attempt to it as a story. In the story, you know what? There's a character that is in love with what is, what you are. I have no idea. Love, unconditional love, but that's just another idea again. What another is, I can't think of another, because that's just another thought. Yeah, so sorry, Soma. If you ask me in person, you know what I'm saying, and if somebody kind of like is asking me, I can tell you a story about Emerson, but here we are in this talk, you know, an attempt to describe something that cannot be described. So trying to get into some personal stories, although it's irrelevant, you know what I'm saying, we'll just basically create a response that creates more stories. I can tell stories. I have no problem with stories whatsoever, but I think you're looking for something different. So what you are, let's just do a riff on it. What we are is a concept, is an idea, is an understanding, is a belief. But again, all of this idea, all of this belief, all of this understanding can be attributed to just a thought. When it's seen that the thought is just a thought of a thought, then all the thought can come up as ideas, belief systems, stories of something. In the absolute, it's unknowable. In the relative, you can tell a story of a character that's moving through time and space, that has history, that has an idea of what he is. But his ideas are just thoughts or just assumptions of something that cannot be confirmed. You can confirm a thought with a thought, but that will just result in more thought. So what's being expressed here is in the absence of thought. So in the absence of thought, there are no ideas.
But I could also see you saying,
Oh, sorry, go ahead. There you are, Soma.
yeah, I could also see you saying that what I am is nothing, or what I am is everything.
I try to avoid that because that just becomes an understanding. That just becomes a conclusion. That becomes a landing, so to speak, right? You can also say that I am consciousness. I am everything. I am nothing. You know what I'm saying? But that comes from an idea again. It's just a thought about a thought.
But if I ask you, tell me what you are in relation to, I don't know, how you feel in your body, something like that, does that make any difference? Like your experience of your body.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My experience and everything.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's hard to say, actually, to be honest, right? I'm trying to be as sincere here and trying to answer that without sounding kind of like woo or anything. Just, I see that the experiencer is not really real at the same time. So it's irrelevant, even if I say that there is a walking character that breathes, that, you know, sees, that eats, that talks, you know, and you can go a bit deeper, that loves his mom and dad and loves his dog, you know, and gets whatever, right? But it's irrelevant because
But
that changes. It's a whole spectrum of a character. You can say that there is a saintly character. There can also say that there's a character that is you know, nefarious, right?
But would you describe it differently if it was like, tell me what you are, or tell me what your non-dual experience is?
Okay. So there is a there's a lot of, again, please don't take this as a comparison or whatever. This, I'm just trying to express it as succinctly as honestly, right? There is a lot of emptiness. There's a lot of contentment. There's a lot of being at peace, even when anger arises, to peace with it. So everything is as is. So there's really no filter. I don't really get caught up in thoughts anymore. I don't think about things over and over again, unless I'm shopping and I'm forgetting something. So it's normal. It's nothing special, to be honest, right? It's the same thing as you are, you know what I'm saying, without the you. What I mean by that is without the entanglement of, because I can say that, oh, you know what, I grew up, privileged or not privileged, that kind of thing. And that becomes my identity. So there's no identity really. There's just laughter happening, smiling, contentment, peace, anger, frustration, sometimes sadness, sometimes grieving. So all of those unfiltered appearances doesn't really have an anchor. It doesn't have a source. So you can also say that, the character seems to be in love. That's what my mom thinks, you know what I'm saying? She thinks that I'm hiding a secret lover, but I'm not. Yeah, it's just a more relaxed version of the character that was a seeker. The seeker character was very neurotic, very manipulative, very dishonest. So there's a lot of honesty. There's a lot of acceptance. Yeah, nothing special.
Mm-hmm. So each time there's a descriptor,
Mm-hmm.
it implies, that there's an opposite also, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem with the language, I guess.
That's the problem with the language. Yeah.
Mhm.
So for example, if I say that there is happiness, and then it will think that there's no more sadness. Sadness also happens, right? Grieving happens. When my dog passed away, I was I was in bed bawling my eyes out, so to speak, right? But what seems to come also goes, because there's no more holding on to it. So it's like everything is a water off a duck's back. It just slides away. But everything is allowed. But everything is also, even a seeming rejection is allowed. So there's more authenticity, so to speak, right? So
Mhm.
it's like kind of like what I was talking about earlier. It's direct. It's like being a child again. It's curious. It's not a goody two shoes anymore, because that's what I thought I had to be. I had to be this righteous goody two shoes character that ate vegan food and listened to vegan music and judged everybody that was not. Kind of thing.
So this might be too personal a question, but it relates to my own experience in life
Yeah.
when my mother died. And so I'm just wondering what your experience was when you must have had some kind of feelings and stuff about your mom getting sick.
Oh yeah. That was actually one of the hardest thing, because I had, as many people know, I was a spiritual teacher, and I've had that, awakening, so to speak, right? Enlightenment, more than a decade ago. And I thought I had to maintain it. I thought it happened to me, right? So when the experience of my mom, having brain surgery and having tumor or brain tumor basically was quite devastating. So my experience as a seeker, as a teacher, as an enlightened character, so to speak, although there's no such thing, was that I had to transmute it into peace, that I had to be okay with it, that I had to accept it. So right now, for example, you know what? If there's this directness here, so if there is sadness with it, that's it too. If there is a rejection that I don't want my mom to die, that's it too. There's frustration, that's it too.
How do you accept that?
There's no one accepting. See, that's the thing. It just happens. It's like having a nighttime dream, right? You don't have a choice to accept or not accept. It just happens. Like, for example, in a dream, I would dream sometimes of my mom dying, and I would wake up, crying my eyes out. I didn't have a time to accept or reject it. It just happened. And it felt absolutely real. So here, what seems to appear is that although there is this heaviness that happens sometimes, there is also, and I can't really say it, you know what I'm saying, because there's also being at peace with the heaviness, because it's kind of like being awake and also asleep at the same time. The asleep is the thoughts. The awake is that there's no thoughts. It's irrelevant, whatever seems to happen. Not as a bypassing or anything, but just as a like an impersonal embrace of what's happening. So if
Yeah.
sadness comes in, sadness is it. But
Mhm.
sadness is not permanent, it leaves as well. If grieving happens, grieving it is. Grieving also leaves. But it's not trying to hold on to happiness and then trying to reject sadness, right? So it's seeing that there's no one doing anything. The attempt to reject or accept it just creates this impulse that there is something that I can do or not do. It's like the power in powerlessness.
Mhm. So when I met with you, that seemed to be kind of what was happening was
Mhm.
that um, there was a kind of silence or peace with
Yeah.
all of that. But
Yeah.
it was like feeling the pain and the peace at the same time.
Yeah. That's it. That's it, right? That's it. Because when you try to get rid of it, then it's not being at peace. Then the sadness just becomes some suffering, basically.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Right? It's there, but it's not there.
I don't know if it's beautiful.
It doesn't have to be too.
It's neutral.
It's neutral. Yeah, that's a better word. Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised, like this is an example, right? I've told this example many times. I was a kid that was the eldest son of five, three boys. I'm the eldest of three boys and one girl. So I had to tough it up, right? I was not allowed to cry. I was not allowed to show emotions, so to speak. Sad emotions anyway. So when I would, for example, go to a dentist, I would toughen it up. Tears would be rolling down my eyes. I'm kind of like really want to cry, but I can't show it. So I was surprised when my aunt and my grandma passed away, and my dog passed away, right? Of how I sobbed and grieved. I've never heard myself sob that way, right? It was just all the filters are gone. And somewhat, you know what? It was also very empty. It was very deep, 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 like sadness that I've never felt before, but it was also simultaneously empty. It's like it's okay even if it's not okay. There's a neutrality to it. Yeah.
Do you ever have times where you feel emotions come up or memories come up that don't feel like they're yours?
They're never mine. I don't have any ownership anymore, right? And that way it comes out because it comes out fully. So I don't really have triggers anymore, to be honest. There might be some stuff, it can appear as a trigger, what I'm saying, but it comes and goes, right? It's almost like like an ominous soundtrack sometimes, right?
Mhm.
Like this feeling or something, right? But it comes and goes. I don't even try to analyze it anymore. But yeah, you know what? It's not always love and light, right?
Mhm.
It can also appear as dark, you know what I'm saying, and crying and being in your bed for for a day, you know what I'm saying, of crying and not even knowing. But seemingly, just like a dark storm, it also passes. And then you appreciate the next day. Like for example, I was, really grieving about my aunt because I haven't seen her in a long, long time. And I loved her so much, right? She was a part of my childhood. She was there to read us bedtime stories. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? The next day, so to speak, there was a lot of laughter. I was talking about how funny she was, how alive she was, and her funny stories and everything, right? So It's a celebration of the bad, the good, and the ugly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Cecilia.
Hello, Emerson.
Hello,
Hello,
Cecilia.
everybody.
Hello.
I want to share an experience I had,
Yeah.
story I had last week. I had to put one of my dogs down.
Oh.
Then the chaos of feelings and emotions, and that was an event.
Yeah.
Then a couple of days ago, I was talking to my husband, and I, we were chatting about her. And then he said, the thing that bothers me more, the feeling that bothers me more is like I betray her because I took her to the vet
Oh.
and
Yeah.
I didn't bring him home. Then I thought, you know what? I think everything what happened here in this character and those emotions, I had the hope that I was wrong.
Yeah.
I took her to the vet.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Knowing, I mean, not knowing, but the seeker did a lot of research to help her, but a lot of stuff, used artificial intelligence to find out a ways I could help her. And I did.
Yeah.
But it was getting worse than we decided to take to the vet, knowing that it couldn't come back. But that
Yeah.
hope,
Yeah.
that hope brought even after she was put down, it brought a feeling. No, I cannot even say a feeling. I'm going to say the mind brought the thought that I want her back.
Of course. Yeah.
You know, like a panic, like, and then I stopped and I said, that's a thought. And that thought can take you.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I said, that's a thought.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're trying to fix it. If you don't care, you're not just, it's a thought.
Yeah.
And it's because now it's a little bit easier. We talk about her, you know, we talk about the good times, bad times. We still have another two
Yeah.
in it. This one was the one, I think, I don't remember, but I think this one was the one that hit me more. And I'm saying this because in 30 years we always adopt dogs.
Yeah.
They're looking for homes. Then sometimes I get them not too young.
Yeah.
But in the 30 years that my husband and I been together, it's about, we have put down 10 dogs.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't, it's not easy.
No.
But with this one, I think it hit me more because she was so happy, so healthy. But the coughing killed her.
Yeah.
The vet said, this coughing is coming to a stroke, it's coming to a heart attack.
Yeah.
We need to put her down.
Yeah.
Then, you know, I was thinking, how can a effing coughing?
Yeah.
Life is so, you know, all those thoughts, and then it's
Yeah.
like, okay, everything is happening.
And ultimately there was not even a choice, you know what I'm saying, in all of that, which is wild, right? Because it's unimaginable, all of this, especially when this should have and it could have then should have brought it to the vet, you know, maybe if I didn't bring it to the vet, then, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? And and there could be an opposite of that, you know, whatever thought that might come is just irrelevant to what's really happening, what's non-happening at the same time, and it's incomprehensible.
Yeah, it became a chaos,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and then I tried to do the therapy, you know, as much as I could. This is a thought. This is happening. Just let it happen.
Yeah.
You know, just happening.
Of
And
course, yeah.
when I felt that panic, you know, I even said, mind panics,
Mhm.
the body feels it. It's
Yes.
stop it, or you're gonna go too far with this.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah, it can go in a rabbit hole of thoughts, right? You know, it and that's when grieving usually happens, you know, like when grieving becomes so intense, right? So the grieving that I express is that, you know, it's sad, you know what I'm saying? But the thoughts don't seem to come and go anymore, that I should have done this. I should have, you know, I could have done this and everything. I was at that time, there was huge sadness that my best friend, my doggy, right, was
Mhm.
gone. But at the same time, there was peace,
Mhm.
that there's no more suffering for the doggy, right? So pain anyway, pain in the body, right? So
Mhm.
because I was just waiting for, my dog was like 16 years old, so I carried him everywhere. He could not walk anymore. He could not go down the stairs anymore. He could walk, but he's blind as well. So and I actually did arrange to put him down. And I did a talk in Toronto with Ariana. I don't know if you remember Ariana. We did a talk in Toronto, and then when I came back, my dog was already down. Meaning that he waited for me, and then his appointment was the next day for the putting down. He was a good dog all the way, right? He saved me like $1,000. He wagged his tail twice, and then died in my arms. Beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah, sad, you know what I'm saying? But it's just what is.
Yeah, you know, the caffeine, even if she was waving her tail, so happy,
Yeah.
begging, demanding treats and everything,
Yeah.
then the cough.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, the little hope that I was wrong, that whatever I did,
Yeah.
you know, the vet will fix her.
Yeah.
But there was no fix, because
Yeah.
the vet will, you know, will
Yeah.
do. The vet, they would say, no, I'm not going to put her down just
Of course.
because
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
said so,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's, and then, you know, it's getting easier. I don't know
Yeah.
if I go through, I don't remember if I go through this every single dog
Yeah.
that I have, you know, I had to put down, but maybe this time I was in the story, I was able to recognize that
Yes.
it happened. I mean,
It is what it is. Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. You know what, in the story, right, the character is always going to have this love, you know what I'm saying, for the dog, meaning that nothing really goes away, even though it's just a thought, seemingly, right? Something that we can't think about does not go away, and that includes everything and also nothing at the same time, right? So it's incomprehensible. But I still have my dog is still with me, like, you know, my dog, I have a little, and this is his bow tie.
Yeah, we still, yeah, have her
Always in
play.
front of me. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just, you know, and sometimes it's hard to understand that putting her down was love.
It
Love
is.
for
It
her
is.
to
Yeah.
be, you
It
know,
is. Yeah.
if it did, the mind is just like,
Sometimes, you know what, when there is, so what with the grieving, right? So the tendency sometimes is to focus at the end, but we don't see the whole picture, the whole spectrum of the apparent, you know, life of the character, right? We're just seeing the two end pieces come together now, the beginning and the end, and it's just this.
mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Emerson.
Thank you. Indira and then Maria. Indira, hello.
Hello?
Hello, how are you?
There you are. Fine. It's great to see you.
Great to see you too.
Um, there's no liberation here. There's no enlightenment here. There's none of that going on here. But what I can say is that there is a lot of clear seeing.
Hmm.
And what's been noticed is that emotions arise, all of them arise. All. Anger, sadness arises. And what I'm noticing too is that when anger comes up, which came up 5 days ago and this morning, is that there are 4 components to it. And I got off my trip and I was waiting for the bus. That's the story about it. And
Yeah.
there were emotions that came up: disappointment, expectation,
Yeah.
anger, frustration, I guess 5, annoyances. And I was feeling it, just feeling it. And then there were these thoughts that just were, and then there were stories about the anger.
Yes, of course. It tries to prolong it, right?
Oh my gosh, it's got an assumption. It's
Yeah. It has
such-
a history now. It has a source. It
So I
has
sat. So I, s-
an origin story.
so I
Sometimes there's a
stood there.
sequel.
Yes, exactly. So I stood there and I just felt it. And the tendency of the character is to text the complaint. And I was just like observing that with the anger all in here, went on the bus, and then it just escaped. It was
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
And so what I'm noticing is that, yes, emotions come, they arise. Sadness, crying happens.
Yeah.
But what I'm noticing is that the stories to it are like, how do I say it? They're not holding on to it. And what this is it's even more full on than what was perceived by the character, because it's not just direct experience with everything, breathing, sitting, hands moving, but also emotions coming up and really feeling them rawly, and tears coming. And I had
Yeah.
that happen today. And I really went inside and just felt it. And then, actually asked the thought, what was it before? Was there
Mm,
before it? This is something that's been practicing. And what came was absolutely nothing, just silence.
yes.
But through it, what the practice that I've been doing is just honoring the thoughts, saying thank you. And I hear you, even though there's no one there.
Yeah.
There's just an honoring of it. And then there's this an automatic expression. I could feel the tears coming up, because for the first time it's feeling safe. It's feeling safe to be expressed. And there was a time when the character would not sit and
Yeah.
do that. And
Yeah.
so I find that I like to call it seeing clearly. And now I just, the freedom is that I feel better.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gone, because
And you
the
know what?
storm.
And this is going to sound weird, right? But the thought also has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And then that's such a relief, right? And this is even wilder, right? And this is so wild, even emotions has nothing to do with you.
Nothing. Absolutely
Nothing.
nothing. Yeah, I see
Nothing.
that.
Yeah. I used to get caught up in my emotions. I was just talking to my brother, and one of my other brother, I'm saying, we would go into arguments all the time, right? It would never end. It's just like, since we were kids. So now the difference is that, he will try to argue with me. He would talk for 30 minutes straight, right? And I just let him. I don't respond back. I'm like, okay, all right, not trying to be condescending or anything, right? And then when he's finished with it, he realizes, he realizes that, oh, I'm so sorry. You know what I'm saying? I don't even have to say anything anymore.
Yeah, I get it.
Just because it has nothing to do with him or me. It's just what is occurring.
Mhm.
It's like trying to rope in like a dark cloud and claiming it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just like what you just said a couple of weeks ago, I had a friend of mine, we were sitting and he was just going off about the same thing he's been going off for 2 months. He was in his
Yeah.
story. And I simply didn't, there was just neutrality. There was listening and there was just listening, and that was it. There was no response. And he even expressed anger, but there was no, it was okay, because he's believing in his story, and that there's nothing that I'm supposed to do about anything. Even when thoughts come up, there used to be this belief that I have to do something about these thoughts. But knowing that I don't, there's nothing to do, it's so freeing. It's just to see what they're.
Yeah.
I just see them as just trying to protect whatever's not what's not here. Trying to. There's like an innocence to them now.
There is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful, right? It's almost like just this open curiousness, right? When thoughts seems to appear, come and go, right? It's like it's just appearing and disappearing.
Yeah.
And even getting engaged with it, you know what I'm saying? Is just another thought. And if you keep on looking, a thought is just there to maintain a thought about a thought. And it also goes back into that original thought of I am, which is just really, it has nothing to do with you. The irony is I has nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it portrays as you. My feelings, my anger, my thoughts, my opinions, my judgments, all this kind of stuff, right? But there's nothing wrong or right about that as well. Because it's just a thought, wrong or right, it's just a thought again, right? So no matter which way you go, right, it has nothing to do with what you are or who you are even, right? Because kind of like what I was trying to express earlier when the question was asking, what are you? That kind of thing. Thought will just try to create more thoughts, and it just becomes a an engagement of something that is unreal.
And that's the freedom right there.
That's the freedom right there. Yeah. It's the contentment of whatever seems to appear, right? My brother was asking me, what do you think of, what people think of you? And I'm like, I don't actually anymore. It's the same thing. Yeah. And even that simplicity, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to call it realization, enlightenment. Being at peace with just thoughts is it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that clarity does not require any kind of acknowledgement, realization, because it already is. And people seem to not see that they also have that already, although there's no them. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's inherent to see it as it is. Yeah.
It's so simple. It's ordinary. And I was sharing with a friend the other day. I said, it's because a friend of mine allowed me to have a relationship with this beautiful, adorable dumpling of a pit bull. I just adore him. And what happens is if I step on his tail, he'll yelp, but then forget about it. And so,
oh my God, exactly right. Yeah.
Forget about it. And I feel like that. It feels like that here. That's what
yes.
just like an animal. This is very different, very new.
There's a lot, when you have 5 siblings, there's going to be a lot of drama with 5 siblings, right? So there's war, quarreling between family, and I feel like I'm just Switzerland now, you know what I'm saying? Just I don't really get engaged anymore.
Love it.
That's just like what you say, right? Like it's someone steps on, my feet, they're like, oh, sorry. I'm like, no, it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's not like I'm going to sue you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do this. It's just what is.
Yes.
And I got beat up, you know what I'm saying? A couple of years ago during COVID time, and I ended up going to the hospital, but I didn't have any animosity whatsoever. Like the victim services kept on calling me, saying if there's any trauma. I'm like, I don't, I don't want to
Right.
waste your time, right? So yeah,
You
there's
say
just
sorry.
emptiness. Yeah.
Yeah, and I heard.
But at that time, there was a kind of like when you step on a dog's tail, right? They do react. They'll be like, you know. But after that, you know, when you're saying sorry, it's almost like they're saying sorry that you're saying sorry. They're licking you right away.
Yeah.
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 It's like instantaneous, like, you know, like, because it's direct. It's direct. Yeah.
Very direct.
Very
Yes.
direct. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Indira. Maria,
Hi,
hello. How are you?
I'm good. It's funny that you were talking about grief because that's kind of what I've been hanging out
Oh,
with
no.
a little bit.
Oh no.
Um,
I'm sorry to
yeah,
hear
but
that.
but it's like I feel like what I realized about my whole spiritual path is that I was just trying to not be sad or mad.
Oh yeah.
That was it. The
It's
whole
basically
thing.
self-improvement, you know?
Yeah, it's like but it's like just the desperate attempt not to feel something.
Yes.
Because if whatever and I say that with a lot of compassion because in the story it was too much,
Yeah.
the depression and stuff. But I think what I've kind of this grief has been allowed to flow that hasn't been allowed to flow in like years, especially around my health stuff.
Yeah.
And like, so for example, today there was somebody's birthday, and because my immune system is a little bit compromised, I couldn't go because there was some sick kids there, like some of the kids had the flu, so I couldn't go. And before I would have like smoothed that over with some kind of justification, like, oh, it's okay that I don't go because this is how I'll learn how to work on my loneliness, and then I'll be better than everyone. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
spiritual realm.
Yeah.
But this time I was just like what who was speaking before me? Indira was saying.
Yeah.
Like just sad. I was
Yeah.
just like really sad that I couldn't go, and then I cried a bit, and then it hung around for a while, but it was so much more light than trying to like layer it with spiritual stuff.
Yeah, when you conceptualize something that cannot be conceptualized, right? You know what I'm saying? Because all of these appearance, like sensations and feelings and whatever seems to appear, right, is what is. And then what we try to attach to it, it becomes our spiritual understanding of it. It becomes our concept of it. It becomes my thing, right? And there's nothing wrong or right about that, right? But it seemingly prolongs something that is just an appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that sadness is an appearance, you know, and it's wow, you know, it's what seemingly is cannot be explained, appearing as this experience of sadness, right?
It's quite, I mean, it's very intense in that it's this kind of like, what the fuck is my life moment? Like, how is this my fucking life?
Yeah.
And there's this rage and this despair, and then because it's allowed to just exist, it kind of then just like doesn't really know what to do and is like, oh, I'll just
it's like that. Someone was telling me in a one-on-one earlier, like, I don't know where my dramatic energy went, but when I get mad, I get really mad. Like, that's it. Because the drama seems to have, there's not much drama anymore because it's been a lot of you know, clarity for quite a while. But she said, but when she gets angry, there's no holds barred, so to speak, right? It's like, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's full on. It's full on. There's no more filtering. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I think there's still some filtering here, but that's okay too.
That's okay too. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's all like, well, just letting it flow, right?
Yeah. And it's also being at peace with even that, right? That's you know, if you were in a spiritual construct and you're trying to transmute it, trying to change it, you know, trying to look at, you know, how to inquire with it and everything.
Yeah,
wrong with
whereas
this?
now, yeah.
Yeah, where now it's like it's just what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that like inquiring does help to access those emotions though, which has been really
Yep.
nice.
If that helps, that's cool. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Like it's
Why
almost
not?
like it's almost like uh there's a desire for the experience to experience something different.
And that's it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, but it's all good.
We'll talk soon. We'll talk soon. We'll chat on WhatsApp. There's a few questions here. Sorry for your loss, Cecilia. Yeah, sorry for your loss, Cecilia. Jeffrey goes, if this is already whole and complete, why does it appear to be evolving? Because evolving is also a part of complete. Evolving is also a part of everything. It's also a part of the wholeness, right? If there's no answer to this question, then there is no answer to any question. Why anything at all? Yeah, evolving, deepening, anything that seems to be moving is inherently complete already. That's it too. Just imagine we're in a book right now, and now it's chapter 10 or something, and there's millions and millions of chapters. Slowly the story unfolds. Yeah, beautiful. I suppose our Western conditioning really has us attached to our characters. In my apparent story, if this character was still operating on the Western American dream framework, this character should be depressed because after working a web development job, now working at a minimum wage retail job, but seeing that this is a show, this is so hilarious that this character can be happy working at a minimum retail job. This character's mother keeps telling him to get a better job, and all the while laughing inside. Also, there's that this character's mother is also it. The complaining is also it. Yes, 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 yes. It's wild, right? Because I had no idea that I would have ended up here, and this is something that I would have never dreamed of. And it's not ideal, you know what I'm saying? Because here I am, you know what I'm saying, in my 50s, um, 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 by kind of like a construct of Western American dream, I've failed miserably. But yet there's contentment. Yet there's peace with it, right? If the measure of success would be your net worth, you know, I'm a complete failure at that. But there is contentment here. There is an in-loveness, so to speak, right? There's a peace with whatever seems to be happening. And yet I'm not holding on to this one as well. I'm not there's no seriousness in speaking about this. I don't take this seriously. It's not my identity, right? But there's a love here as well for that. But yeah, anything goes, so to speak, right? What happened to relationships after enlightenment? I feel like I cannot live without a specific version, like an addiction. After enlightenment, so to speak, there's no more seemingly, again, this is just a story, right? So don't get caught up on this as well. It's just what is. Whatever seems to happening is also it. So even if there's seeming a clinging on to a person, that's also it. But if you really look at it, who's clinging to who and what's clinging to what? So a thought is trying to cling to a thought. An idea is trying to cling to an idea. In the story, there seemed to be, I used to be one of those characters that was always constantly in a monogamous relationship, one right after the other. Now there is a contentment with what is, no matter what seems to appear. It's just what is, yeah. So there's no more longing, seemingly. It is what it is, no matter what it is. If there's a relationship, no relationship, but there's really no one in relationship, if you really look at it. There's an appearance of a relationship. So there's no more seriousness in it. There's no more clinging to it. There's no more desiring it. It's just what is. So whatever seems to appear is just what is. So there's contentment with or without. Yes, addiction is also it. Also no such thing as after enlightenment. Everyone is already enlightened. It's just that some people are really into the role that they're prescribed, or they're just fleeting words. Yes, I agree. Michael, it's just what is. Whatever seems to appear is already it. There's just a seeming idea of separation. Enlightened and non-enlightened is the same. Pre and post is the same. They're just words that seem to create this division, but there's an interconnectedness in everything as well. It's just what is. There's already, it's already done. It's already awake, so to speak, but there's no one awake. It has it has nothing to do with what you think of it, but everything is already it. Relationships, the very nature of addiction. Yeah, that one as well. Again, any of these words, you know what I'm saying, that creates this opposites, this polarity and everything, is just a hallucination, so to speak, of something that's already clearly unimaginable, clearly already appearing as it. So it's already it no matter what you think of it. The apparent character is addicted to gacha games. It's funny playing a gacha game knowing there's no such thing as luck, but the illusion is fascinating. Yes, it can appear as anything at all. It's always it no matter what it is. So addictions is it. Also seeking to stop addiction is also it. Or not seeking to stop addiction is also it. But there's also no one choosing to do any of it. So there's just this innocence appearing as whatever seems to appear. It's a beautiful grand play of emptiness, right? So it's just whatever seems to appear is it. Maybe not being able to stand alone is freedom too, though. So how would a relationship even start if there's no desire for it? Yeah, it's freedom no matter what, right? So it's freedom appearing as being alone. It's freedom appearing as wanting not to be alone. It's just whatever it is it. It's being at peace with no matter what seems to appear. There's no conclusion to anything. So it's not like, it has to be this way or that way. That doesn't really, it's not about being single or not single. It's, again, nothing at all that anyone can think about. Yeah. Is there any point to letting thoughts go, not engaging with it, not building on them? Letting thoughts go reinforces that there's a thought to let go. And then again, what I'm saying, and it's just it's almost like a reinforcement, like that there's a relevant thought that has to be let go. Again, there's really no one choosing to let go or to hold on to thoughts. So when it's seen that both are irrelevant, then it would not matter if thoughts are there or not. It's just seen as it is. Again, in the directness, if this is just directly without any concepts, without any words, without anything, what are thoughts even? Hi, Sheer. Oh, hi, Sheer. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you.
Yeah,
Good to
good
see
to
you.
see you, really, really. But I follow you every day and every night, so it doesn't
Oh,
matter. So you are everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah, and it's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
I think to say that about for sometimes ago, I became very sick,
Oh, no.
Yeah, very sick, but I can say that it was obvious, obvious, sick, just sick.
Yeah. Yeah. Just sickness,
Coughing,
right?
yes, coughing, paining, and
Yeah.
everything. But it was obvious,
Yeah. Sometimes in even the most difficult situations, it's more obvious, so to speak, right? That is just coughing happening. Like I got
like
COVID
it
so many
was
times,
like it was free, something
Yeah. Yeah.
like
It has
that.
nothing to do with you, sickness, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then I think about about the thinking.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, thinking and think are the same.
it
If there
is.
is, if you don't want to think, is there is a thinking?
Yeah.
There cannot be a thinking if you don't want to think.
Exactly.
So, so this I just want to. It was nice to see
It's so
you.
beautiful just to see that there is really nothing behind what seems to be appearing, the emptiness, right? It's so calming, right? For example, you can be sick as a dog, you can be coughing and doing all of this stuff, but when there's being at peace with it, it's not as it's still going to be coughing, still going to be illness happening. This is not a magic pill that there's no more. Seemingly,
No, really.
right?
I mean, really, it's this message is very beautiful. That's all. This message is really a virus. But it's beautiful virus.
Yeah.
I just
Beautiful.
can just thanks a lot.
So good to see you, Cher. So good to see you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. What happened to Ariana? Oh, Ariana, the last time I chatted was that she's just wants a private life. So she took down, so I even took down some of our videos, that we did. But yeah, just some privacy. And that's what's happening too. Speaking, or do you have any deal with privacy? This character actually is a very very private, almost like an introverted character. It's almost like a practice extroverted, because seemingly all my life, all I did is, like, whether it be DJing or becoming a teacher, I was always in front of people. It's just what it is, right? It's just what it is. There's what's good about this is that I am not caught up in an idea that I am someone that is on a pedestal, I'm saying, like an enlightened character or whatever. There's normalcy here. I have regular friends. I have friends that have been with me since I was in high school. I have brothers and sister. Privacy, it comes with, there's an in-loveness with this, so it doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. Yeah. Meaning that I don't really take myself seriously. Yeah. It's weird though. My little nieces and nephews are more excited about my YouTubes, right? Because they're that generation. They're like, oh, we saw your TikTok, that kind of thing. But there's seemingly a non-attachment to this role. It's just seen as just an appearance as well. Are you going to post this video? Yeah, sorry if I've been behind. I have so many videos, right? So I'll post this video as well. Yeah. Thank you. Can you make a video of introductions? Oh yeah, you know what? Sure. I've been busy lately. Sorry about that. I have today, for example, I've had this is my third meeting today. And yeah. I saw some Frank Yang and Josh Putnam talking about doing something related to creativity, possibly with Angelo. Frank talked about DJing, being modern shamans, and his love for music. You should hook up with them and get involved. I want to see you and Frank do something together. Actually, it's in the works. There's a couple of talks already. There's yeah. Josh is a great guy, so he has connect. He's a great connector. There's just so much fun about this. There's just so much fun. Yeah. And I don't take it seriously at all. So DJing, yeah. My relationship with God is the last relationship to go. Now I want nothing more. Still I go on living, I live for nothing. Beautiful, Jeffrey. Beautiful. Yeah. In my story, that was the thing too, right? That was my I guess the thing that I held on to, right? I was wanting for God to take the last step, so to speak. So I just kept on waiting and waiting, but there's no next steps. It's already this. It's direct. It's this. It's always this. Can you imagine Emerson 100 years from now? There's going to be an Emerson official, like there's Alan. Are you planning to do more online or retreats? I might, but not sure. There's one coming up, but it's already full. It's already full. Yeah. Sorry about that. I really want to hear more about arts and non-dualism. I was an artist years ago and lost my ability to create. So I went into academics for many years. I'm out of academics now, but feel like I'm not an artist anymore. The ability to create has not returned. The ability to create hasn't returned, but I hope it will someday. Can you talk about creativity? Yeah, this is quite a surprise actually, right? Because I was such a creative kid, like my mom used to enter me in dance competition. I used to do art and poetry even. My mom told me, it's so great to talk to my mom, right? She tells me all the stories. My mom used to tell me that I used to do poetry and enter, and then somehow, because I was supposed to be trained as a doctor or a lawyer, one of those two, that I seemingly forgot about all of the art. But somehow when the character fell apart, right, there's no more holding back. I love doing I'm not that good, but I love that thumbnails, that art, that expression, even this background, that kind of thing. There's just a love for it. There's a love for it. I play the piano constantly. I DJ. So it's kind of like what I can't remember his name, Joseph Campbell's Follow Your Bliss, so to speak, right? Although there's no one following, there's just bliss in a lot of things. There's bliss in creating these videos. There's so much bliss in talking about this and doing art. And yeah, it's quite fascinating. It's quite fascinating of how this is so unexpected, right? Because I didn't think of any value in it anymore. So things that I did not value seem to be what's happening, that I love the most, right? And it's talking, doing art, music, that, yeah, walking. um, Yeah, so creativity is something that seems to appear when there's an absence of seeking, when there's an absence of longing for something that already is. Like I was so caught up in seeking, you know what I'm saying, that I was so busy listening to others and talking, you know, trying to figure out a whole bunch of things, neurotically seeking that something that already is, that I didn't have room for art. I would not be offended if someone is listening here, if they spend this hour and a half, you know, doing art rather than listening to this. But thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you guys next week. I have a lot of video that I will post, and some artistic ones too. So that's coming up. There's some events that will come up soon. Unfortunately, the in-person event is already full. So sorry about that. There's a wait list. But love you guys. Mwah.
Love you, Emerson.
Thank you.
Oh,